Now, the NBA schedule. It's been released, games were announced, and I'm excited. I can't wait for the NBA season. Those Tuesdays in October when on TNT when those games come up with Ernie, Kenny, Shaq, and Chuck. That's one of my favorite days of the whole year. Honestly, the NBA opening night. I can't wait for that. I want to get home. I want to make sure I'm in front of the TV. I want to make sure I see the games. That's number one priority on that day. Unless there's an event or a family thing, of course, family comes first. But if everything's out the way and everything's going right and I'm out of work and I'm on my way home, all I want to do is get home and see the game. I can't wait. I'm excited. October 18th, the NBA season starts off. Can't wait. You got the 76ers at Boston, the Eastern Conference champion, the retooled Philadelphia 76ers. I can't wait to see that game. It's going to be awesome. Everyone's probably going to be healthy. Everyone's going to be ready to go. That's going to be a battle. Embiid and James Harden versus Tatum and Brown. The additions of the Celtics, seeing them on that stage. The additions of even the Philadelphia 76ers with P.J. Tucker and Daniel House, how they're going to be in Philadelphia with James Harden. James Harden seems to be getting in the best shape of his life. Embiid's going to be ready. Robert Williams is going to be back. Seeing if the Celtics continue to build and get off on the right start, that's going to be awesome to see as a Celtics fan. It's going to be awesome. In Boston, I can't wait. October 18th, it's going to be fire. In the late night game, you got the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Golden State Warriors, the defending champions. Ring ceremony. Going to open out the season and get started. Those are the two games that are going to be high impact yet. We'll see what the Lakers are at that point if they still have Russell Westbrook on the roster. But LeBron James, Anthony Davis versus Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins, Jordan Poole. And see if the Lakers can survive that one. But yeah, Golden State opening night, Celtics 76ers, a rivalry there. LeBron James, Steph Curry, two of the best players ever in the history of the game. Opening night, I can't wait. And then 2 nights later on Thursday, you got the Bucks versus the 76ers. And then you got the Battle of L.A., the Clippers versus the Lakers. On ESPN on Friday, you got Boston at Miami and Denver at Golden State. 2 playoff matchups they're going to pick up there. Can't wait to see that. That's going to be awesome. Golden State has 42 national TV games on TV this year. More than half of their games are going to be on TV. Followed up by the Lakers at 39, Boston at 37, and the Sixers and Suns at 34. They have the most national televised games this season. All marquee teams, the Suns, seeing if they can hang on. I'm still wary of the Suns this year. Being a marquee team like that, of course, they're going to be a top team in the league, but just the instability that they showed last season, especially in Dallas, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out over the season. The 76ers seeing the revamped James Harden with Joel Embiid, finally looking like they get some rest and finally picking up. Boston, going to see if they can continue what they built off last year with their defense. Seeing the new additions in Gallinari and Malcolm Brogdon can bring to the table. 37 national TV games. And somehow the Lakers, who missed the playoffs, LeBron James is still able to bring all that credibility to the Lakers and publicity and TV. The Lakers get 39 games, despite missing the playoffs. Okay, I guess that's okay. Golden State with 42 national TV games. More than half of their games are going to be on national TV. That's crazy. The NBA loves Curry. They're pushing Curry right now, and I'm not mad at it. But damn, 42 national TV games. TNT, ESPN, ABC, etc., etc. NBA TV as well. Wild, man. That's wild. 42 games? That's crazy. You got the Martin Luther King Day games on January 16th. Atlanta versus Miami. That was a first-round matchup last year. We'll see how the Hawks can pick up with Javante Murray by that time. We'll see if John Collins is still on the roster. You got Trae Young, Jimmy Butler, seeing what the Heat are going to be. And then the second game, we got the Suns versus Memphis on January 16th in the Martin Luther King Jr. Day celebration game. John Morant versus Chris Paul, the old guard versus the new guard. Seeing if the Suns, Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton going up against Steven Adams and Jaren Jackson Jr. and Desmond Bane and Brandon Clark. That's going to be an exciting game. Can't wait to see that. But the NBA added something this year, January 24th through the 28th, Rivalry Week. The NBA basically looked at the past matchups of the past couple seasons, last year, building off last year, and basically created a rivalry week, which I think is awesome, and I think they should continue to do forever. Everyone keeps saying that there's not enough rivalries in the NBA, and if you kind of follow the tea leaves of certain games and see the history of what's happening, they're still there. They just have to pop up at the right times, like the playoffs happened last year, and this is what the league needs to do in order to keep that going. You got Boston versus Miami. They met in the conference finals in the bubble year and last year. Definitely some animosity there. These two teams that are willing to win. Pat Riley, he's going to push those guys to the edge to beat this Boston Celtics. I can't wait to see that. That's going to be an intense matchup. And then the Clippers in LA, Battle of LA, of course. And I found this little tidbit there that the Lakers have not beaten the Clippers since June 30th, 2020. So despite Paul George and Kawhi Leonard missing games and all that, the Lakers haven't won nearly in 2 years against the Clippers. Now, that's a rivalry, of course. Kawhi went to the Clippers after the championship with Toronto in 2019. Went out to L.A. and said he's going to take over, basically with the New Balance commercial with the crown hanging from the car. The steering wheel and all that, and the commercials with New Balance basically saying he's going to take over L.A. and all this other stuff. And we haven't really seen it outside that first matchup that we saw a couple years ago. And it's like, damn, we want to see these matchups. Like, you got John Wall. You got, coming back, you got Paul George, Kawhi Leonard on one side. You got potentially Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis on the other. I don't care who you are. That is a big-time matchup, and especially in L.A., where they share the same building. The Clippers are going to be trying to move in a couple years. This is going to be awesome. Like, I want to see that game. That game's stepping up. Brooklyn versus 76ers during the week is going to be there, and those matchups have always been intense, especially the trash talking between Kevin Durant and Joel Embiid. If Kevin Durant's still on the roster, if Brooklyn is still good, and if Ben Simmons is 100% healthy. There's a lot of storylines going into this game that I think are huge, really huge. The whole fallout of James Harden winning out of Brooklyn. It's funny because Kevin Durant and James Harden were still partying together and practicing together this past week. So that's interesting to see. But Ben Simmons, how he fits in that, I believe the game's going to be in Philly. Ben Simmons returning to Philly, they're going to be hostile. This is the same crowd that tried to beat up Santa Claus, booed Santa Claus. Philadelphia is unremorseful as the fan base, so we'll see how that goes. We got Memphis versus Golden State, and that's going to be a big game. That's going to be a big game just because the trash talking between John Morant and Draymond Green over the past season. The young team in the West going up against the old guard in the West and the Warriors. Contrasting styles, different lineups, different attitudes, different play styles. I can't wait. John Morant versus Steph Curry. That's going to be entertaining. Two of the best guards in the league. That's going to be a highlight reel in a big-time game. Following up, we got Chicago at Charlotte, which I don't understand how it's a rivalry week. People have told me it's supposed to be the Ball brothers, and I guess that's marketed. And I don't think that's a rivalry week. I think that should be a marquee game, maybe during the season or something like that. But Chicago and Charlotte, I think they only met, twice in the playoffs with Michael Jordan. And it wasn't like the Hornets put up a fight and gave Michael Jordan some run for his money, or there's some long, drawn-out history between these two teams. I just don't see that one, really. We got Dallas versus Phoenix, the last year's conference semifinals matchup where Dallas won in 7 and basically destroyed, annihilated, demolished, crushed the Valley, crushed the window hopes of the Phoenix Suns. And we're going to see if there's any redemption there between that. I know it's a regular season game, but this matchup, the way they're doing these rivalry matchups, there was definitely some animosity between these two teams in the way it ended. Can Phoenix bounce back from that? Can Phoenix answer the call of Luka Doncic? And, of course, this team looks a little different there. They got Christian Wood. They don't have Jalen Brunson anymore. Potentially, Dallas is in talks with Cleveland to get Colin Sexton so he can be added to this. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. That's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. To see if Phoenix can answer the call there and see if Luka can really continue to put his foot down on Phoenix. There's been a matchup nightmare since. This has been a matchup in the past with Dirk Nowitzki and Steve Nash and Phoenix and Dallas in the playoffs and stuff like that. So to see this continue in some sort of way, it's kind of cool to see it continue. And Luka's been playing Euro basketball, I believe, over the summer, and he's been in shape. So he's going to be on a tear this season, despite I don't think the roster is as good. Even with the addition of Christian Wood, I think other teams in the West are getting better, but Luka being in shape is definitely going to help Dallas's chances. Moving on, we got Memphis versus Minnesota. We got that first-round matchup last year in the playoffs. John Morant, Karl Anthony Towns, their dads. It's going to be must-see TV. I can't wait to see that. That's going to be two young teams fighting for position to get better. And the addition of Rudy Gobert is definitely going to change the impact of the Minnesota Timberwolves. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. They got Toronto versus Golden State, which I kind of don't understand, but I understand they faced each other in the playoffs the last couple seasons, but I believe only Fred VanVleet and Pascal Siakam are on that team that were a part of that championship roster. So that's going to be interesting. Hopefully Pascal Siakam's working on his game. Nick Nurse came out, said Pascal's going to be looking great. So we'll see how that goes. And then we got Denver versus Philly, and everyone's like, these are two teams on different conferences. Where's the rivalry? The rivalry was in the MVP voting between Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid said that he doesn't know what to do to get it. They just don't like him. He has to stay healthy. That's the main difference between the two. To me, I thought Nikola Jokic won the MVP fair and square. He was only a couple games behind Embiid. Embiid had the better roster, but for Nikola Jokic to step up and push that team to where he got them, I believe they even won a game against Golden State. So for him to push that team to where it was, I thought that was fair. So to see that MVP matchup come back up and that's the rivalry, I'm fine with that. Jamal Murray is also going to be coming back. I can't wait to see him back and playing with Joker and seeing Joker have some help go up against James Harden and Joel Embiid, and seeing that's going to be a matchup between two great big men in the league where people are saying the big man's gone, and I'm like, these two are two of the best in the game. Playing at high level basketball, entering their primes. It's going to be awesome to see. Moving on, we got the Battle of the Boroughs, Knicks versus Brooklyn. If the Knicks are anything, if they can figure out a way to get Donovan Mitchell, at least it will be an entertaining game. We'll see how Brooklyn is doing with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, of course. But finally, we got the Lakers versus the Celtics. That's what they're ending rivalry week with. Lakers versus the Celtics. You can't open up the NBA history book without looking at that rivalry. And even where whatever stages the Lakers are in or the Celtics are in, as a Celtics fan, I want the Celtics to beat the Lakers' ass. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Rivalry week, trash talk all these Laker fans, and be a marquee game that everyone can go to and see and talk trash. And I hope the Celtics kick their ass. Oh, Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Robert Williams, Al Horford, Marcus Smart, all these guys just steamroll the Lakers. Please do it. And that's rivalry week. And I like that because the Celtics, the league is looking at storylines during the season, looking at past matchups, and putting them in a week where it's going to be contested. Those games will matter. I think that's very important for the league going forward, and I think that's awesome. I just think it's awesome. I think it's a good blueprint going forward each season to look at past storylines and build these rivalries and make the NBA. That part has always been missing, especially with player movement and stuff like that. And I think that's just awesome. I think it's awesome that they do that, and it's going to be entertaining. I didn't want to leave out Christmas Day. We got the 76ers versus the Knicks. I don't think the Knicks should be on Christmas Day unless they got Donovan Mitchell and are playing well. I don't think the Knicks should be on Christmas Day. Honestly, I understand that they're like the Detroit Lions and the Dallas Cowboys. They got to be on there, but until the Knicks do something of substance, I think a younger team should be in there. They can find somebody. A Cleveland, a Chicago, a Minnesota, Miami. Miami is not here on Christmas Day. Who doesn't want to, first of all, as NBA players, who doesn't want to go for Miami for Christmas? I don't know. If you ask anybody, they probably all say yes if we're going to play a game. And to put the Knicks there, I just don't. Come on, league. That's the one fail you guys are going to have right now. You can't have the Knicks on Christmas Day. You can't have that. No, nah, enough is enough. Unless they get some entertaining players and turn it around and have some type of success going forward, you can't put them in marquee games like this. They should not be there. I would rather. I know you don't want to put the Hornets there. They're not as good. Let me just look 1 second, because it's like you can put anybody there. Anybody there besides the Knicks. Like, come on. There's other teams there. Whatever the schedule is, change it and get it right. Get this one right. Put Toronto on there. I want to see Toronto. Put Toronto on there. Put Atlanta on there. Like, do something of that nature. Like, don't put the Knicks there. All right, enough trashing of the Knicks. Let's move on. Got the Lakers versus the Mavs. LeBron versus Luka. These teams are probably going to be battling at the middle or lower tier of the conference. By that time on Christmas, well, it's going to be Christmas Day, so the season's not really going to be in full tilt, but that's a big matchup. I think Christmas Day is kind of like the real starting point for the NBA season in terms of teams have gotten lathered a little bit, gotten a little bit more run, figuring out their lineups. Christmas Day is basically the starting point of, like, I don't want to say the second half, but like the second quarter of the season, I should say. Man, this is going to be a good way to see where the Lakers are, see LeBron and Luka, point forwards, leading their team. That's going to be awesome to see. Bucks versus Celtics, a conference semifinal matchup that we saw last year. Hopefully everybody's healthy. Chris Middleton, everyone's saying the Celtics got lucky with Chris Middleton being out. I want the Celtics to prove the Bucks wrong and prove the naysayers wrong and really just get that going. Robert Williams hopefully is healthy. That's just going to be a good matchup. Giannis is always going to be a matchup nightmare for the Celtics. It's been, I think they faced in 2018, 19, and last year. So that's the past 3 years. Maybe that should have been rivalry week. The Celtics and Bucks, even stemming back to the 80s with Terry Cummings and Sidney Moncrief and Larry Bird and Robert Parrish in those days, and back in those days with Don Nelson. Yep. So that's a good game down on the Christmas Day. That's going to be awesome. I believe that's the 8 o'clock game. Yep, 2:30. Or the 5 o'clock game. As we move to the nightcap, we got the Grizzlies versus the Warriors. That's going to be the first matchup, especially with all the trash talking going between those two teams. Warriors in the marquee spot with the Grizzlies, Ja Morant. I hope the Grizzlies are ready, and that's going to be entertaining. I really wish the Warriors were an Oracle. That's a whole different discussion for another day. Shout out to Oakland. And in the nightcap, we got the Suns versus the Nuggets. I'm going to try to stay up. I want to be honest. That's a lot of basketball during the day, but the Suns and Nuggets, that is an intriguing matchup. I love seeing Nikola Jokic. Chris Paul's my favorite point guard all time. Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, Miles Bridges, Jamal Murray coming back. That's going to be good. Like, I love this schedule. I love when the NBA releases the NBA schedule. Christmas Day for me, hanging out with the family, opening presents, even as a grown-ass man. There's just a sense of unity and bonding there, watching the game, especially with my brothers, my family, my mom. Like, we're all huge basketball fans at some point in the day, just watching games and together. But yeah, just the whole schedule is just awesome. I love looking at the schedule and seeing matchups. I already got I already printed the schedule out for the Celtics on the season. All their televised games, I know what they are. And this is just awesome. I love it. As for the Celtics, on December 10th, we get a finals matchup, rematch there during the regular season on December 10th and January 19th. I believe the first game is in Golden State, and the second game on January 19th is in Boston. I would love to go to that game. I want to try to figure out if I can even make that happen. But just looking at those, I just love the schedule when it comes out and seeing all these games and seeing all the potential storylines and matchups, and I can't wait. I just love when the NBA does this, and I love the NBA, and I love watching the game. Schedule day is one of the best days. You see what games you want to see. You can tick them off. NBA soon. I believe in a month or so. I believe 2 months, almost 2 months away. Can't wait. And that will do it for episode 19 of the Basketball Soapbox. Until next time, if you want to check out what I'm doing on YouTube, I have a couple videos up there. I'm doing the Eastern Conference breakdown. I did the Indiana Pacers already. Orlando Magic should be up soon. I'm trying to figure out what next team I should do at the bottom of there. I got the Wizards, the Knicks, and the Charlotte Hornets. I think Detroit's going to be a little bit ahead of those teams there. But Washington should be a better team, so the Hornets might have to slip. I might have to talk about the Hornets next. I don't know. I'm trying to figure this as I go. I got my the playoff teams I have sorted out. It's the bottom of the conferences I have to kind of tinker and move around and figure out what to do. But if you want to check that out on YouTube, the Basketball Soapbox on YouTube and Spotify, check that out. And I'll keep doing the Eastern Conference breakdowns, and I'll try to find a new topic to talk about as the NBA season approaches. Training camp, preseason, we'll see how that goes. But until next time, like, comment, subscribe, share, YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, the Basketball Soapbox. You know what to do. Until next time.